gamers, welcome to the games. This is Joe Luzzi from What I'm Playing Now, and we are here with a preview of Gamma Grunts, a deck smash game. Josh and Kyle from Hipline Industries were nice enough to give us this preview copy of the game, and this is prototype materials that they have given us. If you actually played the game while you were at Origins and visited either of the guys there, this may have been one of the sets you played with at Origins. So let's jump over to the table. I'm going to give you a quick teach on how to play the game, and then we're going to go through a two-player game of Gamma Grunts. So as you can see over here, we have the tableaus. We have the two-player tableaus as well as the cards that we're going to be drafting and playing with. In Gamma Grunts, there are essentially three different types of cards you're going to be playing with. You're going to be using Gamma Juice to actually do most of your purchases of the cards. It's pretty much the currency in the game. You have disruptions, which are denoted by the orange on the cards, as well as the lightning bolts. These cards will actually be, pretty much like their name says, disrupting the game. They can be played at any time. In combat, they can only be played at phase 3 of combat, which we'll talk about during combat. But they pretty much just disrupt the flow of the game and let you do things kind of out of turn. The last card that you have are your grunts. Your grunts are denoted as they will have an attack and a defense. They will also be denoted by the green down on the bottom part of the card. So those are the three main style of cards that you have. When you're playing a game, each player is going to have 15 cards. There will be 6 Gamma Juice, 5 Brutes, and 4 of the Discovery Disruption cards that you will start off with in your deck. You're going to shuffle your deck. Normally you will draw 5 cards, but the first player, and we're going to have blue go first here, draws 4. The rest of the cards will go here in my deck area. I have my hand of 4 cards here, and we're pretty much ready to start doing actions. At the start of your turn, you won't need to do this on your first turn, but normally what you're going to do is reset and clean the lab. When you do that, you're pretty much going to move your Gamma Juice back to the Gamma Juice container. You're going to move any grunts that you have in the lab out of the lab into the play area, and you can then start going through your actions. So what are the actions that you can actually do during your turn? These can be done in any order. We're going to follow the list that the guys have here, and the first thing that they have listed here is Draft Chaos. What is Draft Chaos? You're a mad scientist. You're able to actually flip and or smash any of the cards that are pretty much out here in the numbered area. So each of these different decks that are out here is a different cost card from 1 to 4. So if I want to flip a card, what I could do is I could take a card from any of the decks here and flip it on top of the other card. In essence, what I'm doing with that is I am covering up this card, and it cannot be purchased until the card on top is purchased. So if I think my opponent might be going for a card, I can maybe slow them down, maybe make them spend some Gamma Juice on a card they might not want to get the card below there. But keep in mind, on their turn, they can also do the flip and or smash, and they could pretty much smash that card and then just draft that other card that's on the bottom. So let's get back to this flip and or smash action. So we talked about being able to flip over a card. You can flip over a card, and or you can smash a card. I could take one of the 4 cards here, and if I think my opponent's going to buy it, rather than flipping a card and slowing them down, if I just pretty much want it out of play, I will take that card, smash it, set it into the smash pile. It will be removed from the game. Of course, there possibly is a card that lets you go through the smash pile to maybe pick a card out. So you know in card games, there's always going to be a card to override the rules. But what's normally going to happen is you will smash that card, it will go into the smash pile. This is one of the few times in the game where smashing a card will not get you any infamy. Pretty much what you're trying to do in this game, since it's a deck smash game, is you want to smash your opponent's decks, his deck of cards, and that will score you infamy. The first player to reach 20 infamy is going to be the winner. You can also lose if you ever try to draw from your deck pile and you don't have enough cards to take you back up to your 5-hand limit when you're doing your drawing at the end of your turn. We will talk about that in a few minutes, but let's get back to the different actions we have here. So we just described Draft Chaos. Draft Chaos is optional. You don't have to do this. So maybe during the first couple of rounds when you're playing the game, you pretty much don't know what your opponent's strategy is right now. So maybe you pretty much don't want to flip and or smash anything. Maybe you kind of just want to let it ride, and then maybe on the third round or so, maybe you want to start thinning some things out. Maybe you want to start maybe moving some of these piles a little quicker, so you start maybe flipping a card over. So maybe that's when you start wanting to do that as a strategy. The next thing you could do is play cards. So let me give you an example and kind of just maybe play through part of my first turn here under the play cards part. So under the Gamma Juice container, it says play 1 Gamma Juice per turn. So usually what I do is one of the first things I do at the top of my turn, after clearing out my lab and everything, I plop another Gamma Juice down. Why? Because if you don't have Gamma Juice in your Gamma Juice container, you're not going to be able to do anything. And one of the things you want to do is you want to be able to attack your opponent. So to do that, I'm going to use the Gamma Juice that I just put down there. I'm going to spend it by moving it up to the lab. I'm then going to put the Brute into play, which has a 1 Gamma cost in the upper right-hand corner of the card there. So it has a 1 cost, 1 Gamma Juice to play it. I'm going to bring him out. He's going to go into the lab, and right now he can't do anything. Any grunt that you put into the lab, you cannot do its action or abilities, and you can't attack with it. One of the things you can do with it is defend. So however many brutes you have in there, if your opponent starts attacking you, you can actually use your grunts that are in the lab to defend. That is pretty much the only thing they can do while in the lab. So that was pretty much playing cards. I don't have any Gamma Juice left. I can't play any more cards into my lab or anything. So that's kind of going to take us right into the next action phase that the guys list here, and that is draft. I have 2 cards left. I can draft these cards into my deck to basically start building up a deck of stronger grunts, of better disruptions, comboing everything together, and I'm going to do that by spending cards from my hand. So we talked about earlier, playing a card, the Gamma Juice cost that's in the upper right-hand corner is the cost to play the card. It's also its draft cost. But during the draft phase, when you're drafting, you're not spending Gamma Juice, you're actually spending cards. So I have 2 cards left in my hand. If I want to draft the Wicked Minion, which is a 2 Gamma Juice cost card up there, I can actually discard both of my cards to the recycle bin. I can take this 2 cost card, put it right on top there, and I just did a draft. You can draft at most 2 cards per round, and the 2 cards that I drafted, if I wanted to, I could have taken one of the 1 cost cards, flipped over another one to see what was there, and I could have actually taken that next card that was set out, or you can also draw blindly from any one of the decks. Now, whenever you do draft something, don't forget to refill that area immediately, because you do get to see what has just come out. Now, it really didn't come into play for me since I had 2 cards to draft with, and I bought a 2 cost card. But like I said, if I would have gone the 1 card route and maybe thrown a couple of more, wanted to get maybe a couple more cards in my deck, I could have done that as well. That's pretty much drafting. So we're pretty much just about 3/4 of the way through our turn right now. And the last part of the last action that the guys list here for combat, or is combat, and the way combat works is you attack with cards that are out in your play area. So they have to be out of the lab to be able to attack. Let's say a couple of turns have gone by, I have a brute that is sitting out here, and I'm going to give you 2 different kind of examples of how combat is going to work. I'm going to show you one where an opponent blocks, and one where an opponent does not block. So let's do the first one where the opponent does not block, just because my opponent doesn't have any cards out. So what I would do during combat, if I wanted to attack with my brute, I would turn my brute sideways and exhaust him. That basically shows that I'm spending him and using him to do an attack. My opponent doesn't have anything to defend with. They are going to have to take some damage now. Now, the way damage works in Gamma Grunts, since you're not really losing infamy, you're gaining infamy by smashing cards. Since I'm not really kind of destroying any of their cards that are in play, what I'm going to do is I'm kind of going to be smashing a card from their hand or from their deck. So at this time, my opponent would have 5 cards in their hand, and I'm going to go ahead and deal out their cards right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if they didn't have anything to block that brute with, they could look through their hand of cards and discard a 1 Gamma cost card into the smash pile, and I would then gain an infamy. If you have cards in your hand that you don't want to use, you can use Gamma Juice, and Gamma Juice actually has a 1 Gamma Juice cost for it. Even though it doesn't have the icon on there, it's worth 1 Gamma Juice for being smashed in that way. So if my opponent wanted to attack or wanted to basically discard a Gamma Juice from their hand, they could do that for this brute that does 1 point of damage. Now let's say they didn't want to get rid of any of the cards in their hand, be it Disruption, Grunt, or Gamma Juice. You can actually take the top card of your deck. You will flip over cards until you have enough points in Gamma Juice there to cover the damage that you're receiving. So, you want to be very careful when doing this, because if I'm attacking with a brute that is doing 1 point of damage, and it's later on in the game, and you've actually built up some nice 3 and 4 Gamma Juice cost cards into your deck there, if you flip one of them over, and let's say it's a 4 Gamma Juice cost card, that card's going to go into the smash pile. I will gain 4 infamy, even though I only did 1 point of damage to you, and you only needed to discard one Gamma Juice cost card. So you want to be very, very careful when you're actually discarding cards from your deck blindly like that. I mean, unless if you have some great combo cards in your hand and you're going to be able to pull off a lot of, gaining a lot of infamy possibly the next turn, or setting up to really do some cool things the next couple of turns, drawing blindly off of your deck from taking damage, I would try to do that as few times as possible. There are some big chances that you're taking by doing that. So the next thing is, if my opponent did actually have a brute in play. If they had a brute in play and I had a brute that I was attacking with, if we both attack each other, damage happens simultaneously. So we would go through the different phases of combat. When we got to the third phase, we can actually use disruptions, maybe give somebody some steroids or something, maybe make somebody a little bit stronger to where they wouldn't die and maybe the opponent would. Any additional damage that is done does not go through to the player. So as long as you're blocking as long as you're blocking one of the grunts that's coming after you, you're not going to take any damage. Now, your grunt's going to die, and I would gain some infamy. So if my opponent actually had a brute and I had a brute in play, and they basically blocked me when I attacked, the brutes would hit each other. They would each do a damage to each other. They each have 1 health point, basically 1 defense. They would both go to the smash pile. We would actually both get 1 infamy. Infamy is supposed to be handed out to the active player first, so I would actually move up to 1 infamy, and then my opponent would move up to 1 infamy. You can block with multiple cards if you want to. So if I was attacking with something that was maybe 2 attack and maybe 3 defense, and they had 3 brutes out there, they could throw 3 brutes at me to basically destroy that card. Your attacker gets to assign the damage to the defenders. So keep that in mind as well. So I think that's pretty much a quick run over of how combat works. When we do our first combat, we'll follow the combat sequence here and we'll go through that. But at a high level, that's pretty much how combat works. And we're kind of to the end of the turn. So at the end of the turn, you discard the rest of the cards in your hand, if you haven't played them all, and then you draw back up to 5. Now, one of the things I mentioned earlier was, 2, 3, 4, 5. One of the things I mentioned earlier was, this is a game similar to a deck builder, but it does have some different mechanics to it, I guess you could say. One of the big things is, in a normal deck builder, when your kind of deck runs out, you get to recycle it and kind of just, when your discard pile, you get to pick back up and put it back into your deck and shuffle and everything. You don't in Gamma Grunts. Gamma Grunts is a little different here. And this is where you really want to pay attention. Down on the bottom of the recycle bin, it says 1 Gamma Juice allows you to shuffle your recycle bin into your deck. So on your turn, you can take one of the Gamma Juice from your Gamma Juice container. You can take a Gamma Juice from your hand. You will put it on top of your recycle bin. You will then grab the recycle bin, including that Gamma Juice that you just put down onto the recycle bin, and you will shuffle that back into your deck. So whenever you want to actually use your recycle bin and get it back into your deck, you actually have to spend a Gamma Juice. So Gamma Juice is very, very important in the game. It's your lifeblood for being the mad scientist. It's your currency for purchasing things, but it's also going to keep you sane. Because if you ever can't draw the 5 cards, like I said earlier at the beginning of, or at the end of your turn, you go insane. Now, in a 2-player game, you pretty much just lose because there's really not much you can do. But if you're playing a 3 or 4-player game, you're actually not going to be out of the game and just sit there and, pretty much sit on your phone or something. You're actually still going to be able to interact a little bit. You're actually still going to be able to do draft chaos on your turn. But since you did go insane, you can never win the game. So you can still disrupt the game a little bit by doing draft chaos on your turn, but that's pretty much all you're going to be able to do once you do go insane. So we kind of just went through the blue players' first turn. I drew back up to 5 cards in my hand, and we're going to set those there. I'm going to take the 5 cards from the red player, and we're kind of just going to start playing the game now, since we kind of just went through all of the different actions that you can do. So like I said, normally what I like to do, the first thing at the top of my turn, I like to drop down a Gamma Juice card. Since you can only drop down 1 per turn, you might as well start getting them out there. So this way you can start purchasing things and actually start getting things into play. We're going to play it safe here. We're actually going to spend the Gamma Juice. We're going to throw a Brute into play. Unlike the first player who only had 2 cards right now, I actually have 3. So I could do one of a couple of things. I could go for the Major Brute, the nice 3-cost card here. He actually has 3 attack and can take 3 damage. Or I could pretty much use these 3 cards to actually maybe take the Half Brian Lackey and the Hazmat Courier, both of which have more than, are able to take more than 1 damage. And Half Brian Lackey says when this card is drafted, place it in your recycle bin and shuffle the recycle bin into your deck. So it's the first turn. We're going to get to shuffle this. So let's do this in a good order. Let's actually spend the 2 cards here to purchase the Hazmat Courier. And his ability is when this card is drafted, place in your recycle bin and shuffle the recycle bin into your deck. So we're pretty much going to get to do this twice because we're going to take him. And rather than shuffle 2 different times, we're actually going to do the thing with the Half Brian Lackey as well. Take him. I'm going to flip these back over. We got a Mosquito out as well as a Wicked Minion. So both of those grunts actually allowed us to recycle our recycle bin back into our cards. So we're going to give this a quick shuffle. Now, I could do some draft chaos if I want. I can't do combat because my Brute is in the lab, so he can only defend right now. So I really don't think there's anything I see on the board that is like, I really don't want my opponent to get that. So I think at this point in time, what we're going to do is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to say our pretty much turn is over. We are going to, since we didn't have any cards left, basically just draw back up to a hand of 5 cards, and that is their hand. I'm going to pick my hand up. I'm playing as the blue player. Oh, interesting. I did not draw any Gamma Juice this time, so I'm not going to get to do put any Gamma Juice down. But the first thing you do at the top of your turn is you reset and clean your lab. So my Gamma Juice is going to go back down here. My Brute's going to go into the play area. I'm going to spend my Gamma Juice to actually bring another Brute into play. And I now have 4 cards in my hand. So I'm going to do a little bit of drafting here. I think what we're going to do is, I think we're going to draft that Major Brute, which is a 3 Gamma Juice cost card. So we're going to drop those 3 down there, get him, flip this one over. Now I have 1 card left, I could either stop or I could draft. My deck's not that big, so I'm thinking let's draft. Let's try to get some more cards in here before we have to recycle everything back into my deck. The Mosquito, I can exhaust him, and it exhausts target grunt not involved in combat. Sounds like an interesting ability, but I think what we're going to do is let's do a blind draft. We're going to draft that, and we got Mitosis Mike. Only on your turn I can exhaust to get a draft point. So he actually gets me an extra draft point on my turn if I exhaust him. So he will go into the top of my recycle bin. Once again, I don't think I'm going to do any draft chaos right now because it's only the second turn. I really don't see anything that is really, really pressing. Let me read this down elevator card real quick. Choose a player their grunts can't reset during their next turn. That might be good to maybe smash. We have a hand smasher. This one, only on your turn, exhaust. Target player smashes one card at random from their hand. Oh, that one's not that good either. I think maybe what we're going to do is for draft chaos, actually, on my turn, we are going to smash a card, and we're going to smash that card. And in its place, Soylent Green comes out. Reset 1 Gamma Juice from your lab. Target player draws 2 cards. So, that is the end of my turn. I have done draft chaos. I've played some cards. I did my draft. I'm not going to attack right now because my opponent does have a brute in the lab. If we kill each other right now, all we're going to do is give each other 1 infamy, and both of those cards are going to go into the smash pile. Don't really think it's worth it right now. So I think we're pretty much going to end our turn there and draw our 5 cards. Now I have 1 card left, so next turn I'm definitely going to have to spend a Gamma Juice, and I have plenty in my hand to get this recycle bin back over there. Because if not, the game will be over, and we don't want this to be over yet. So on my opponent's turn, what they're going to do is they're going to reset their lab, their brute, their grunt is going to go out into the play area. Their Gamma Juice is going to come back into the Gamma Juice container there. I'm going to play a Gamma Juice, and what they're actually going to do is they're going to spend the 2 Gamma Juice to actually get their Hazmat Courier out into play. He actually has 2 attack, 3 defense. That's a pretty good card to get out this early. After that, I have 3 cards left, no Gamma Juice, so we're going to do some drafting here. I think the Wicked Minion is a card that they're going to take, because the Wicked Minion, actually, you can exhaust and gain 3 infamy. So that can kind of just sit there and just exhaust, and just start getting you points. So we'll flip over General Anesthetic next, which is a 2 attack, 2 defense creature. When this grunt enters play, return target grunt to his owner's hand. I'm not really too sure I want the Mosquito. So maybe right now what we're going to do is we're going to do a little draft chaos. I'm going to flip over this top card and see what comes out. Oh, it's a Contaminated. This is a 2 attack, 1 defense creature. When this card is played, each opponent recycles a card from their hand. I think what we're going to do is we're going to draft that over the Mosquito, because I couldn't take the Mosquito anyway since he was on the bottom. And that's pretty much going to be the end of their turn. They're not going to attack because, once again, I pretty much have a brute. They have a brute. So it's really not going to do too much to attack right now. And that will be the end of their turn. They're going to go ahead and they're going to draw back up to 5 cards. And we will pass play back over to me. Let me set their 5 cards down right over there. And I'm going to have to start paying attention to what the cards are in hand. I don't really think we have too many disruptions outside of Discovery that could possibly affect play right now. But as we get later into the game, I am really going to have to start remembering to look at the cards to be able to do disruptions and not just kind of play blindly. Okay, so I have my 5 cards drawn. I bring my Gamma Juice back into my Gamma Juice container. I'm going to play my brute. I have 2 brutes in play that can attack. But the Hazmat Courier has 3 defense. They could pretty much block me, and they will kill me, and I will then lose my brute. So I need to start getting some stronger characters into play here. But I really don't have anything too strong into play. I definitely need to play a Gamma Juice. I think what we're going to do is we're going to spend all 4 to actually recruit Hand Smasher. It's a 1 attack 3 creature, like I said earlier, only on your turn exhaust. Target player smashes 1 card at random from their hand. So we're going to go ahead and grab that. Since they have a way to get infamy, let's try to maybe start clearing things out of their hand. Now what I'm going to do here, since I just used all 4 of my cards pretty much to draft that card, I'm going to take one of the Gamma Juice I have here in my container. I'm going to put it on top of my recycle bin. I'm going to grab my recycle bin, grab the 1 card I have left in my deck, and give a quick shuffle, because we're going to rotate that back in. At that point in time, I don't think I'm going to do any other sort of disruption. Definitely not doing combat. I've done my draft, and I think that's pretty much going to be it for my turn right now. And I'm going to draw 5 cards here. And take a quick look at what we got. Okay. All right. All right, so we're going back to my opponent. My opponent is has a hand like what I had before. There isn't much Gamma Juice in their hand right now. They're going to reset their Gamma Juice. They're going to go ahead and spend a Gamma Juice to play a Brute. They're going to spend another Gamma Juice. And they're going to play a Discovery. And they're actually going to take 1 Infamy. They're not going to smash it. They're going to go ahead and take an Infamy. So red wants to get on the board right now. So we have 3 cards left. Since I took a card that is going to randomly make them discard a card, I think they're going to take General Anesthetic, which is going to try to return a card to the owner's hand when he enters play. That gives them a little bit of return ability and control deck with that card. With the other one, they'll take the Mosquito to give them a little bit more control, because the Mosquito lets them exhaust target grunt not involved in combat. So that is the cards that they have. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 exactly. So that was perfect because I wasn't paying attention to that, and I really need to do that as well. We're going to flip over another card here. So we have a bunch of disruptions on the board now. So let's look at these real quick. We got Doohickey. Only on your turn, gain 2 draft points and reset 1 Gamma Juice from the lab. Failed Experiment. When an opponent plays a 3-cost card or less, smash it and cancel that card's effect. Smash this card after use. Soylent Green, which we talked about earlier. Reset 1 Gamma Juice from your lab. Target player draws 2 cards. And we also have Armored Motorcycle. Target grunts get +4/+4 until the end of turn. That is big. So I don't think they're going to do any chaos, but they are going to attack with the Hazmat Courier. So we're going to exhaust the Hazmat Courier. Now I don't want to take 2 damage, so I'm going to block with my Brute. Since my Brute, so the Hazmat Courier has 2 attack, 3 defense. My Brute has 1 attack, 1 defense. We said during the first combat we were going to look at the combat sequence, so let's actually do that. Let's read through the combat sequence, make sure we don't miss anything. First, the active player chooses an opponent and declares which grunts are attacking by exhausting them. We're playing a 2-player game, so my opponent pretty much just has to choose me. They really don't get a choice in that. The targeted player can assign one or more unexhausted grunts to defend against each attacker, but isn't required to defend every attacker. Blockers do not exhaust. So I'm going to go ahead and say one of my brutes is going to block the Hazmat Courier. We are now into the third phase of combat, where we can use disruptions and abilities. The attacking grunt is still blocked. And then each attacking grunt compares its attack and defense value with those of the defenders assigned to it. So as we said, my brute is pretty much going to be toast here because it's being smacked for 2 damage. For both attacking and defending grunts, if their defense value is less than or equal to other grunts' attack value, that grunt is smashed. The other player gets infamy equal to the cost of the smashed grunt. So what happens here is the 2 damage that my grunt receives, he goes into the smash pile. Red gets 1 infamy because he was a 1 gamma juice cost card. If there's multiple defenders against a single attacker, the attacker decides which defenders take damage up to its attack value. We explained that earlier. For unblocked damage, the defender smashes cards from their hand or off the top of their deck until they have smashed the damage value equal to the cost in cards. So we pretty much explained all that, but I just wanted to make sure we went through the combat sequence. We didn't miss anything, and we didn't. So we're good there. So I think that's pretty much the end of Red's turn. They're going to draw their 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, their last 5 cards. And next turn, they do have Gamma Juice, a lot of Gamma Juice, in fact, to be able to get that recycle bin back over to their deck. Play's going to pass back over to me. I have 5 cards in my hand. I don't have anything in my lab to reset. So I'm going to plop a Gamma Juice down here. I'm going to go ahead and play a Brute. And I'm going to play another Brute. We're going to try to get some creatures in play here. Oh, and this card was in the wrong deck. That's a 2-cost card. I must have accidentally shuffled that card into the wrong deck. I had not noticed that. There we go. Bomber Puppy's out. And Bomber Puppy is one of the cooler cards that I like in the game. As you can see, we have a little Corgi here. And he basically smash any 1-cost grunt. So I have 2 cards here. I'm going to go ahead and take Bomber Puppy because why not? I think Bomber Puppy is kind of awesome. I get to flip over a card. Poison, target grunt gets -1/-1 till the end of turn. That could actually come into play to maybe help me get rid of the Hazmat Courier. So I think we're going to go ahead and take that. And that is the 2 draft cards that I just spent my cards for. I am not going to attack. I'm not going to do any you know what? I think I am going to do a disruption. Or do some draft chaos, I mean. I'm going to get rid of this armored motorcycle. My opponent seems to have quite a bit of Gamma Juice, more than me. So I think they are probably going to be able to get to that before me. And I don't want them to be able to put +4/+4 on anything. So I'm going to flip over Combusta Bowl. Smash. Smash up to 4 costs in grunts. So this card can actually be smashed itself. As you can read there, you can smash this card. It has 5 defense. So that card is actually a pretty good defense card, if you can get that out there. But I think that is pretty much all my opponent is going to do, or all I'm going to do on my turn. I'm going to draw back up to 5 cards. And my opponent is then going to pick up their cards, reset their lab. So Hazmat Courier is actually going to unexhaust. Brute is going to come out. So we have 2 Brutes as well as Hazmat Courier in play. Their Gamma Juice is going to go back down here. They're going to plop another Gamma Juice down. They're going to spend a Gamma Juice to actually throw another Brute out. And with the 3 that they have left, I think they're going to try to get a few more cards out. They're going to get Chaos Grunt. And I think what they're going to do is they're going to do a Draft Chaos and flip over the top card of here. Oh, and they have an Angler, which is actually a 2 Gamma juice cost grunt, which they're going to spend their last 2 cards on for draft. They're going to take a Gamma Juice from their Gamma Juice pile there, shuffle this whole deck up, throw it back onto their deck pile. But before they do that, they're actually going to do some combat. Because why not? Are they going to do combat now? Because if they attack with Hazmat Courier, I can pretty much block with everybody. 2 of my guys will die, but the Hazmat Courier will die. So we'd each get 2 infamy at that point in time. Now, if they attack with everybody, I can pretty much block everybody, but then all of my guys will die. Let's do that. Let's be a little aggressive here. Red's going to be a little aggressive. That's pretty much how my wife Kim would play. She would pretty much probably just attack with everybody. So we're going to turn everybody sideways. So I now have to decide who I'm blocking with. I don't want to discard cards and lose that much stuff. So I think what we're going to do is just pretty much block everybody. We're going to say the Brute blocks the Hazmat Courier. My Brute's going to die. Red's going to get an infamy. I'm going to block a Brute for a Brute, which means we actually both get an infamy. Red's going to get 1. I'm going to finally get 1. And then we're going to block a Brute for a Brute. So we're pretty much clearing the board here. Red's up to 5, Blue's at 2. Blue has the Hazmat Courier out. I have nobody left. And they have another Brute coming out next turn. So I maybe have wanted to let one of those through and maybe discard a card, but I really don't want to go that route. We did get some points there, but the last time I played through a solo game, Red won as well. So I'm not expecting myself as the blue player to win this game. So that is pretty much all they're going to do. They did their combat. They did their draft chaos. We played cards, drafted cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's actually see what they drew. All right, they actually drew some good cards. Okay, they're going to... Red's probably going to win here. Because with one of the cards they just drew, which I will play next turn, is going to start getting them infamy very quickly here. All right, so it's going to be back to me. I'm going to clear my lab very easily. I just bring my Gamma Juice back down. All my Brutes are gone. So luckily we did draw a Gamma Juice. We're going to go ahead and plop that down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have more than 5 cards there, so I think we're going to let that ride and until next turn. We need to get some things into play here. So I think what we're going to do is we have 3 Gamma Juice. We're going to spend all 3 Gamma Juice. We're bringing out Major Brute. When this card is played, all opponents recycle 1 card from their hand. So my opponent is going to get rid of Contaminated, which is just a 1-cost card. So we're just going to recycle that. And he's a 3 attack, 3 defense character. So he's going to be able to go against the Hazmat Courier right now. So that's going to slow down Red's attack right now, which is pretty much what we need to do. Now, I did just spend all of my Gamma Juice, so I have 3 cards to be able to draft with. Let's see what we were going to do here. I think what we're going to do is, since I've seen Red draw some higher cost cards and some higher attack cards, we're going to spend 1 draft point to be able to draft the Shield Brute. I can exhaust him to reduce damage being dealt to target grunt to 0 until the end of turn, so that might help out some. Now I have 2 left. I don't know if I want failed experiment as a disruption, so I'm going to go ahead and do a draft chaos and flip this over. A tutor sounds good because it's a 2 attack, 2 defense cost grunt. Well, it's 2 gamma juice cost grunt, but it's 2 attack, 2 defense. When played, search your deck and or recycle bin for a card. Add that card to your hand and shuffle your deck. That could come in handy. So for my last 2, what we're going to do is we're going to do that. I can't attack since all of my grunts were destroyed on the last turn. I've done a draft chaos. I've done a flip. I can get rid of something. I'm not really too sure what my opponent is going to want to purchase right now, so I don't know if I want to do any more draft chaos. My turn's pretty much going to be over, I think, at this point. I'm going to go ahead and draw my 5 cards. I have 1 card left, so we're not going insane this turn. The Mad Scientist gets to continue playing. And we're going to go over back to my opponent. So my opponent's going to throw the Brute out. They're going to unexhaust the Hazmat Courier. Gamma Juice is going to go back into the bottle. They only have 4 cards in their hand since they actually had to do that recycle, but they are going to drop a Gamma Juice down here. They're going to spend 2 Gamma Juice to play Wicked Minion. Wicked Minion is a 0 attack, 2 defense grunt. They can exhaust it to gain 3 infamy. So if I don't find some direct damage quickly, my opponent is very quickly going to work their way to 20 points. Since they have a Gamma Juice left, they're going to go ahead and get a Mosquito out. I'm going to be overrun by grunts here shortly. The last Gamma Juice that they have, they're actually going to draft the Mini Angler just to get another card into their deck. This card will flip over. It is Containment Field, exhaust target grunt not involved in combat. I don't think they're going to do any sort of draft chaos right now. They're going to move on to combat. I don't think they're going to do combat right now because my Major Brute will be able to attack and kill the Hazmat Courier. And with the Hazmat Courier only doing 2 damage and my Major Brute having a 3 defense, my guy will actually survive and I would get 2 infamy in that case. So I think my opponent sees that. Until they get a couple more cards out, I don't think they're going to come at me, bro. But they're going to soon. I think at that point in time, my opponent is pretty much going to say it's the end of their turn. They're going to draw back up to 5 cards. And like I said, now that we're into the game, I actually need to see what we're drawing. So I know I don't really think we have too many disruptions, like I said, yet that should be do too much. But I want to see what some of these cards are that they're drawing, just so we have an idea of what I'm going to be dealing with or what they can actually do on their turn. All right, it's going to come back to me. I'm going to reset my lab. My Gamma Juice comes back down into my container. My Brute comes out. I'm going to drop another Gamma Juice down. We're finally getting some Gamma Juice into play. We need it. We need it. Okay, I thought I had made a mistake and flipped the cards around, but I didn't. I forgot I was the one that had drawn the Wicked Minion. So I actually have the card that is going to do pretty good, I think. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a Gamma Juice because I hadn't played a Gamma Juice yet because I still got 5 cards in my hand. I'm going to spend 2 Gamma Juice to play Wicked Minion, which will let me exhaust it to gain 3 infamy. I thought my opponent had drawn that card. I believe I had. And what we're going to do is I need to get out another grunt. So let's put out Mitosis Mike. And then I need to draft some cards here. I don't like the containment field, so we're going to flip that over. Anonymous donation. Only on your turn, draw 1 card and get 1 draft point. All right. We're going to take that. Now, since this card is already there and I've already done my flip during my draft chaos, I can't do another flip. I could smash this, which would essentially let me see the next card, which is what we're going to do. Oh, and it's another bomber puppy. So that's cool. We're going to take him. With the last card, we're going to do that. With my last Gamma Juice, I'm going to flip that into my recycle bin. And we're going to shuffle all of this back up into my deck and not go insane. I'm not going to attack because I only have the one grunt out, and they definitely have more than me. But hopefully I can start coming back here with the Wicked Minion. All right. So my opponent's going to clear their lab, put out all of their grunts. I'm really starting to have to stretch here with all the creatures they have out. We're going to go ahead and play a Gamma Juice. They're going to spend 2 Gamma Juice to play General Anesthetic. They're going to spend 2 more Gamma Juice to play 2 discoveries they have in their hand to gain 2 Infamy. Since I have the Wicked Minion out now, they're kind of worried about that. And for the last Gamma Juice, I should have flipped this over. With the last card in my hand, I'm going to do a draft. And what they're going to do is they're going to do a draft chaos, flip this over. They're going to take the Gamma Guzzler. When this card is played, take a Gamma Juice from the draft pile and place it into your lab. So that is one way to get more Gamma Juice. So that was pretty good for them. Now we need to figure out, is somebody attacking? Because they got a lot of stuff here. They have a Wicked Minion out, and I forgot that we had a Wicked Minion as well. I think that's where I was getting myself confused here a couple of minutes ago. I didn't realize that we had both drawn one. So they're going to exhaust the Wicked Minion and get 3 and be already up to 10. Now, if they attack, this could be a very interesting combat. Because I could block quite a bit, but I think they might want to wait till next turn to get General Anesthetic out. Because right now, one of the cards would get through, and it would probably just be the Brute. And I would kill the Hazmat Courier, as well as the Mosquito. So I think they're going to hold off on attacking right now. They were a little aggressive earlier, but I think right now they're going to hold off. I think they're going to just draw their 5 cards. And we will need to remember to do a recycle for them. All right. So that's their cards. So when it's coming back to me, we're going to go ahead and clear our lab. We're going to put our Gamma Juice back down here into our jar. Mitosis Mike and Wicked Minion are coming out. My Wicked Minion is going to exhaust and give me 1, 2, 3. I'm going to go ahead and put a Gamma Juice down since I hadn't put one down yet. I got a bunch of Gamma Juice as well. So I think what we're going to do right now is we're going to spend 2 on 2 discoveries. 1, 2, and try to catch up to them on Infamy. I'm going to also spend 2 Gamma Juice to play my tutor. Now, when played, search your deck and our recycle bin, add that card to your hand and shuffle your deck. Well, that's not really pretty much going to come into play too much, because I don't have any Gamma Juice left to be able to do anything. I guess we'll just pick up a discovery. Since I didn't save any of my Gamma Juice, I probably should have done that first and not spent my 2 to get those 2 points. So this way I could have actually done something, but actually it's going to give us 2 draft points here, or it's going to give me another draft point, and I have my Mitosis Mike to actually get another draft point if I want to exhaust him. That would give me 3. I think what we're going to do is we're going to flip this over. Notorious Minion, exhaust, gain 2 infamy. We're going to take that and then just take the card underneath it for the last one. I'm going to not attack. Draw my 5. Next time we are going to have to recycle stuff. So let's make sure we got a Gamma Juice. And I want to make sure I save that Gamma Juice and not spend it all like I had just done. We're going to go back to my opponent. They're going to go ahead and clear their lab. They're going to get major anesthetic out. They're going to exhaust their minion. And they're just going to re-exhaust that minion for 3 infamy. 1, 2, 3. In this turn, I think they are going to attack. They're going to do another big attack. But before they do that, they're going to play a couple of things. They need to have 1 Gamma Juice to get their recycle bin back. But I think what they're going to do is they're going to do another 2 Gamma Juice. Oh, we didn't want to flip that over. They're going to do 2 Gamma Juice to actually play 2 discoveries to gain 2 infamy. And red just kind of pulled ahead here, which I kind of knew they were going to. I should have flipped over this card when I took it before. I think with these, what they're going to do is they're going to actually draw blindly off of the 3rd top here. They drew Wheel and Deal. Choose 1. Recycle 1 smash card. Target player smashes 1 non-Gamma Juice card. Ooh, that's interesting. At that point in time, we're going to do combat first before we actually do our recycle bin. So they're going to pretty much attack with everybody. So the Wicked Minion has already attacked. So let's kind of just set him. I'm going to set him kind of like in the lab, but he's out of the lab. But I'm just going to try to give myself some room here to see who is all attacking and what type of abilities they have. What does the Mosquito do? Exhaust. Target grunt not involved in combat. We're just, like I said, we're going to attack with everybody. They want to do a big attack. When this grunt enters play, return target grunt to its... Ooh, I forgot to do that last turn. Gave myself a little bit of a break there by not actually using his ability. I actually should have... when this grunt enters play, return target grunt to its owner's hand. They probably would have had me pick up Major Brute last turn, but I forgot to do that. So, mistake. But we're not going to go back and fix that right now because that would kind of really throw off the game. Red's going to win anyway, so I really don't think that gave me too much of an advantage, but I did make a mistake there. I will notate that here right now. So we're attacking with everybody. So who is blocking who? The Major Brute is going to block Hazmat Courier and actually survive. So Hazmat Courier is actually going to go away, and I'm going to get 2. My Wicked Minion was already tapped, exhausted. Mitosis Mike will get rid of the Mosquito, so each of us are going to get an Infamy. And the Tutor is going to block General Anesthetic, which is going to give us each 2 more. And pretty much, since I am not going to be able to get rid of that Wicked Minion, I have a feeling red is going to win next turn once they exhaust Wicked Minion one more time. I am going to get to possibly do a little bit of damage to them, but they're just going to discard cards at this point in the game, and I don't think I'm going to catch up. So, like I said, red is going to take a Gamma Juice, put it there, take their deck. They will draw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards. Neither of us have gone insane. Oh yeah, they got a pretty good hand here. It's pretty much game over for blue, man. Game over, man. All right, blue is going to unexhaust. Blue is going to do what we can to at least try to do something. We're going to play a Gamma Juice. I'm going to go ahead and exhaust my Wicked Minion for 3 Infamy. I'm going to Gamma Juice for a Discovery for an Infamy. I mean, at least it's going to be somewhat of a close game. I'm going to play Anonymous Donation. This disruption, only on your turn, draw 1 card and get 1 draft point. So I'm going to need to draw a card. I got a poison, but the poison only does 1 damage, so I can't get rid of the Wicked Minion. Oh, so close, so close, so close. Well, I guess what I could do is I can play poison on the Brute. That's actually going to kill the Brute and smash it, which I believe would give me another Infamy. So we somehow caught back up. I'm going to need to recycle as well. So I think with my last 2 cards, we're going to draft Failed Experiment. I'm going to attack with Major Brute. Now, they don't have anybody to block with, so they need to get rid of 3 cards, which will actually win me the game. I just noticed that. They can get rid of 3 of their cards in hand, which is going to smash that. And that will go 1, 2, 3 and take me to 20. And somehow, blue pulls out the win right at the last second. I guess I probably shouldn't have had red do that big all-on attack. I did not think blue was going to be able to get that many points in that last turn, but I think that poison that I drew and that little combo that I kind of did there got me that extra card in my hand, which let me get rid of the grunt, which was a smash there. So that's it. There you have a playthrough. So we taught you how to play Gamma Grunts. We did a playthrough of Gamma Grunts. The game is on Kickstarter, So go kickstart this, and hopefully everybody enjoyed the video. Thanks for joining me.